Week 168. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about the Toronto real estate market and listing supply, how it's been going up and down and all over the place. If you've been following this blog, you know that listings were piling on last week, but things have changed this week, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what the Bank of Canada might do on June the 7th. I guess that's in almost 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks. And we're going to talk about what buyers are thinking, what sellers are thinking, and what you should do as a buyer or seller or just an all-around real estate enthusiast that's interested in the market. So let's get into it. So week 168, and if you're new here, that's 168 weeks from March of 2020 when I started tracking the market weekly. Remember, if you are watching a market report and it has these words in it, stop watching it and find another channel to watch. Likely just tune in to me. If the person you're listening to says, here are April's numbers, and it's like the first week of May, you're going to hear some irrelevant information. Why? Because if you're not tracking the market weekly and understanding what's happening day to day, you are going to miss out on trends and you're going to make bad decisions based on old data. You are not going to make a decision based on what's happening right now. So hopefully the agent you're working with understands these things and is able to help you navigate the market. How do you tell if you're led by an agent who is not really doing their job properly? How many times have you made an offer and lost out? Are you going from one offer to another and just constantly wondering why you're not winning these properties? It's probably your agent not doing their job properly. Or are you a seller who's just constantly having trouble getting that right offer to the table? Maybe your expectations are a little bit too high. Or did you sell too quickly? Maybe you left some money on the table. All of these things, all of these doubts are eliminated when you track the market weekly like this. So week 168 had a lot of interesting things happen. Number one, it was really awesome to see houses not continue to pile on inventory. That is very important because, as you know, if you've been watching this, we've had 3 weeks in a row of aggressive house listings just piling on despite big sales numbers. Like, we're finally seeing sales volume in a week in excess of $150 million in the urban core, where before December of 2022, we'd be lucky if we hit 70 million in sales volume in a week. So that's how much sales have increased for houses, not because prices have come up. I'm not saying prices have come up, which has resulted in more sales volume. What I'm saying is the number of sales have increased to the point where we're finally seeing what we normally would see, which is around 130 to 180 million dollars a week in sales in our urban markets. Different numbers as we move through the other neighborhoods that we track. So that's what I'm saying there. With condos, however, there is a bit of a different scenario happening right now. Condos are actually continuing to pile on supply, but they weren't piling on as aggressively as houses before. So we have room there for listings to improve or increase right now in the condo world, but we will see what happens in the next couple of weeks with that. Because if we have a similar experience to what we had with houses, where we have like a couple of weeks of aggressive adding on and then just pulling back as sales increase, then that's fine. But if we see this trend continue, moving towards 2,000 listings from the 1,300-ish we're at right now. As we know, the closer we get to 2,000 condo listings available on the market, the closer we get to a buyer's market in that world. And we're nowhere near that right now. And I don't see anything moving us in that direction. So if you are a condo seller, you should be doing well right now. And if you're paying attention to the numbers below and on the actual article, so I need you to click through on the link, which is in the comments below, or just go to thespringteam.ca/blog and it will be the first update there, week 168. You'll see the numbers that I break down below the content that I've written out. And you'll see the average price of condos actually, if you look at that, is down like $150,000 from last week. That doesn't mean condo prices are down. This past week, over the past 7 days, there were more sub $600,000 condos sold than I have ever seen. So it's not that there are condos that were more expensive selling for less. It's just that bottom half dominated, not even the half, the bottom 3 quarters just dominated last week, which affected the average price. There were still all kinds of bigger sales, but for some reason last week, a lot of entry-level condos traded. And perhaps that means a lot of like first-time buyers or a lot of first-time investors or people that are interested in that sort of product are a little bit more comfortable jumping into there right now. So, whatever, we'll keep an eye on that, but that's not a reflection of condo prices right now. And again, I don't know what's going to happen, and nobody knows what's going to happen with 100% certainty into the future. But again, I really do believe that digging into this information weekly gives you a clearer window into what is most likely to happen. Of course, things change sometimes, but most of the time when we say something is going to happen, it happens, or it with some slight modifications. So let's start eliminating the "we don't have a crystal ball" from our vocabulary if you're an agent that's watching this, because you might not have a clear crystal ball into years into the future, but you certainly have an idea based on what's been happening and trending over the past couple of weeks, what is going to happen in the next month or two. And the Bank of Canada is really good at keeping us informed as to what they plan on doing. But as things change between announcements, that's when we have to change some of our expectations as well. So we know that the Bank of Canada has halted rate hikes as of the end of January, which sparked a whole bunch of buying activity. Why? Because buyers were finally certain that the unknown of what's going to happen with rates were done. So buyers were finally comfortable making big purchases, and they're making big purchases at the same level they were making them when rates were 4% lower than they are today. So, understand that like this doesn't mean we have a bunch of over leveraged buyers. We have a bunch of buyers and people that want to be in Toronto that have money and they are spending it. However, right now, buyers are a little bit more cautious with how they are spending their money. People are buying fewer cars, fewer luxury items. So all that stuff we expected to happen months and months ago is kind of happening now. So there's a big lag between when an announcement occurs, like an interest rate hike or a recession or whatever it is. There's a huge lag between the announcement and the actual realization in the world and the realization in the city. Like what is actually happening on the ground today is a result of things that happened months ago. So buyers are a lot more cautious right now because that certainty of the rate hike or the certainty of interest rates remaining where they are is no longer on the table. Now, June 7th, based on inflation numbers that were less than ideal, and I totally get how frustrating this is, like 4.3% inflation we had in April. What's before April? January, February, March. In March, and then April had a 4.4% inflation, up 0.1%. So, but what is factored into these inflation numbers are higher interest costs on mortgages, which is a direct result of rates going up. So it's not that clear a picture of everything's getting more expensive, but some things certainly are, and we are starting to see oil actually now get oil and as resulting gas prices actually tick up in price as well. So, there are things that are happening that are going to slow the deflation that we've been experiencing, which means that rates are likely going to remain high, if not a tad higher, for a little longer. But again, the Bank of Canada has flat out said, or actually they haven't said, but there are a lot of economists that are saying that the Bank of Canada is not really interested in entering that ultra low interest rate environment again. And I honestly don't blame them. It creates this kind of roller coaster environment in our markets, and that's really not good for anybody. And if you happen to catch the top on a sell and buy at the bottom, you got lucky. I guarantee you did not do that on purpose. You can only do so much to time the market, and day trading real estate is not a successful investment strategy in real estate in Toronto. So between the inflation news, less than ideal inflation news, the uncertainty of how much rates are going to increase on June the 7th, if they increase at all. Last Tuesday, I was pretty firm with the idea that they weren't going to increase on June the 7th. And honestly, they still might not, because when you factor in why inflation moved, you might actually notice the Bank of Canada might actually not be as alarmed as some people are, and they might not increase like some people assume they're going to increase. So who knows? But honestly, if they do not increase, you can expect that summer lull to be kicked ahead a little bit or kicked back, whatever the term is. But I think whether there's an increase or not, the summer lull is going to happen. There is going to be a slowdown. Right now, if there is a rate increase, it's going to happen right in June. If there's no rate increase, it might happen in July and August when it normally does. But I'm honestly pretty comfortable with the fact that the lull is going to start a little earlier this year as buyers are becoming a little bit more cautious. And let's not, discount the fact that to some of us, COVID might seem like a long time ago, but there are a lot of people that did not go anywhere, do anything. So a lot of people right now are spending way more on experiences, and that could be due to some pent-up demand from the COVID lockdown days. So maybe that's not completely exhausted yet. I don't know, but we'll see how the next few months play out. But right now, Toronto real estate is still selling well. Houses mostly are still selling as as people expected them to sell. The odd home is not getting offers on offer night and they're having to relist the next day, but not enough for me to signal like, okay, the true slowdown is happening right now. We're not quite in that mode yet, but a lot of signals indicate that a slowdown is on the horizon, if not kind of slowly starting right now. So if you're a house seller, just make sure you're working with somebody who knows what's happening in your market. Like if you're in North Riverdale, honestly, there could be a war happening right here in Toronto, and I think people would still be making huge offers on North Riverdale homes. That's one insulated neighborhood that reacts very differently to things. But just make sure you're working with an agent that understands your community and how buyers typically expect to receive listings. Like, do you normally do home inspections when listing in your neighborhood? Then you should probably do one and not be that guy that doesn't have one. Or, are there multiple offers happening here? How often? How much above the list price? Like all these things need to be discussed. And really, what does your place look like? Is your agent taking the time to actually make your property look like a showroom piece, as close to it as possible, to be able to get you that big price? Because you know what buyers don't like right now? Well, they never really do, but they have no patience for right now, are cutting corners, things that are left undone, glaring deficiencies, things that some agents are really ignoring, and I hate to see it. So make sure those things are tightened up if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, you really should not be going from property to property to property to property and losing and losing and losing and losing. If your offer is not meeting the market's expectations, either your expectations are unreasonable and you're just wasting everybody's time, or your agent is poorly instructing you. One of those two things are happening, so let's be honest with ourselves and really see what's going on. So I think that's it. I really want you guys to read the report this week. And if you're not subscribed, there's a link to subscribe to the newsletter so you get this emailed to you. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Real Estate Raccoons is on the verge of some good stuff. We're getting some good subscriptions every single day. And I'm here in Victoria, British Columbia right now, where we are actually in the process of opening the spring team Victoria. So I'm pretty excited about that. We're going to launch some cool videos and content to show you guys about what we're doing here in Victoria. So if you are an agent here in British Columbia, Victoria specifically, I want to hear from you. If you are a buyer or a seller, or a homeowner, or just somebody who loves real estate here in British Columbia, I want to hear from you. We've got our Vancouver office hopefully coming after this one, and then Calgary, and then a couple of other neighborhoods in Toronto. So I'm pretty excited about our growth, and we're looking for agents right now who are super hungry, super coachable, and really wanted to jump onto a brand that's doing some good stuff. I don't care where your market is. We're licensed in a lot of places. I think we can do a lot of good things together. And of course, I want to hear from buyers and sellers. We've got an amazing team of agents, including myself, that are just eager to help you get into the market, get out of the market, make some investment moves, all of those things. So thanks for checking into Real Estate Raccoons. Comments, let's have a conversation below on the blog. Make sure you hit it up, the springteam.ca blog, and I will see you in week 169 next week. Have a good one.